Most people walk right by this without realizing what it actually unlocks. And that's a big mistake because this changes what small shops can sell. When I saw these new tools recently, it stopped me in my tracks. You gotta see these. Let's go. If you'd like to check out any of these products, links in the description, and of course, in the pinned comment and the QR code right here on YouTube. I'm here with David from xTool.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. He's got some cool products he's gonna show us to help customize and even make new stuff.
So this one here is our new F2 Ultra UV. So it just came out late last year. And right now we're doing some demos here at CES. I think you can see one, this was a little bit chipped, but this is what it does with glass.
How does it get down? It almost looks like it's in the center of that.
So what you do is you put it in here, and inside Studio, what you do is you put the measurements of what the actual glass is, and then you can then put it in so that you make whatever 3D image you have already in a vector. So if you look up here, there's this little dog, which is really nice. It says his name was Da Vinci.
That's cool.
And it also works really well with other items because it's a UV laser, so it works really well also on wood. We're not doing any wood items, but it works really, really nice on wood because it's cold processing. So what it's doing is that it's just basically doing a quick kind of a pulse, and it's not really burning the wood rather, but it's leaving a nice ingrain.
So is it also printing on those skateboards and those pictures? Was it doing those?
So this is actually a separate unit. So this is actually going to come out soon. This is our UV printer. So we just announced it here at CES unofficially. So this is just our sample of what it will look like. And those are some of the samples that are made with the UV printer. So the skateboards, the tumblers, and it also does these paintings. We're done with it, but it gives it a little bit of a texture.
Yeah,
so it has a nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And these are also samples that were made with it. And this is our new one, F2. It's more compact, but more powerful than our F1. And that's the nice thing. It's still portable, has a very similar shape to the last one, but very, very convenient to take around to shows and stuff like that.
So what is a common thing people use this for? And can you index on it, or is it just that footprint right there?
It's that footprint right there, but I can show you in another spot how it looks underneath.
Okay.
F2 Ultra. So this came out middle of last year. We have 3 right here kind of showing that you could use it as well with the conveyor. So the same situation with the F1 Ultra, but now with the F2 Ultra, you can also use that with the conveyor.
That's pretty cool. So if you had like 15 or 20 of these, you would just conveyor on.
Yeah, so you do one, you put like, say it's gonna put CES on here, for example, and you had like 15 over here as it's coming along. Once it gets into the processing area, it'll start putting CES.
Oh, wow.
And then it just goes off. You just have to make sure you keep filling it up. If not, it's not gonna have anything to do.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
This is a tumbler. So this is how the tumbler more or less would look like. And then the other one, I believe he was doing some samples with earrings. So he was creating earrings really quickly, just engraving on them, and then just having them ready, kind of like some easy to make jewelry.
Yeah.
So this is like all made with the F2. So it's very, very easy with the jewelry. So because jewelry ends up being very used, this guy is very easy to do customized jewelry at shows. So it's taken a lot of times just to specific locations. Like one of them I keep thinking about was in Dallas. We had a show in Dallas, and the girl kept telling me that she goes to different places just in the Dallas area and does like customization with jewelry.
Craft shows and things
exactly.
Like that. Yeah.
It's like almost flea market, I would say, but I don't want to use that word. But like at different locations, she just puts the name of the person, and then kind of has it more memorable more than anything. So these are all done with the F2 Ultra, F2 Ultra UV, F2 over here, F2, F2, F2 Ultra UV. So a perfect example of everything that's on this in this area.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
And then this side is more for retailers. So this is our retail studio. So it comes with a kiosk, allows customers in store to customize what they're looking at. So for example, I'll do lipstick because this one is actually something that we ended up doing with MAC in China. So we customize in store, the client can come in and purchase a lipstick, and they can then write their name out, say they got it at CES 26, and if they were to go to a MAC store here in Las Vegas, they could have it memorized saying, I got this MAC lipstick here at CES.
Gotcha.
And then this is actually a modified F1 Ultra, so that they can then put it in, customize their lipstick, and this would all be in a retail store, say at a MAC, at some other location.
So if I was, let's say we were doing a coaster, and if I just set this in there, do I have to position it just right, or does the laser know where I put it on the bed?
This is a sample product for the brand to see what it's going to look like.
Right.
But it will have actually, in the future, it'll have a jig setup. So it'll be the bottom floor would actually be like a jig, a fake floor, if you will. And the store employee could just put it in, and it's in the right spot every single time.
Gotcha.
So that's the setup for the retail studio. So it comes with the F1 Ultra setup and then the DTF station. So the clients say they're at a hypothetical Nike or Adidas or wherever, They can come in, choose a t-shirt. Say we're having a Super Bowl in my area at Levi Stadium. They could just choose the graphic. That's going to be, for example, let's just imagine this is the 49ers made it to the Super Bowl. So you could put the 49ers with a little Nike logo, if you will, have it print out within about 20 minutes. The print comes out something like this, and they go over here and heat press it on to a t-shirt. This could be something that a store could have somewhere in Las Vegas, somewhere in the Bay Area, California, wherever you are.
Yeah.
It's a full like sample. This is just the F2 Ultra, so it's again so that they could customize something like a dog, a perfume. This has an addition, it has the gold on top of it, so it looks a little bit prettier.
This is the F2 Ultra add the gold, or do you do this separate?
No, this is separate. It's done with these pens that we have here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then these are all samples that were made using the UV, different types of materials. So I like these. They come out very nice. Even the ceramics actually come out really nice. If you have it right here, that looks really nice.
Yeah, it's good. Shoes, everything?
Yeah. Baseballs.
Somebody bought one of those for a Little League team and engraved baseballs, could make a killing.
Yeah. We also did it on bats before. So like even this one has this, but you can do it on bats as well. We have the M1 Ultra. This one's not really new, but again, it's kind of showing off its capabilities. That's 4-in-1. Laser blade, inkjet, and then also can draw and write. And here we are making little keychains for CES. And then some samples that we use using the M1 Ultra.
So this M1 Ultra is cutting parts out too?
Yeah.
Making that?
Cutting and engraving at the same time. And then this is the Apparel Printer in full swing. So right now, if you look right now, it's printing. And then once it's finished printing, it'll come here in the shaker and oven. This is where it shakes the glue that will then be the adhesive that sticks to the t-shirt or wherever, and then it dries in this section.
And it drops out down here?
Yeah.
And then you take that into the heat press onto a shirt?
You just press it on here.
It has to have an auto feature, and I saw the auto over there, and I'm like, what does auto mean? I just pressed it, pushed the plate in, and I'm like, oh my God.
So it holds it down for however long it needs to, and then it comes out, say 13 seconds?
Yeah, so based on the test that we did earlier, we found that 290 and 13 seconds were the right time and temperature. But also you can adjust the pressure, which my heat press doesn't have, and that's why I'm getting this guy.
So depending on the pressure, you needed a certain graphics order?
Exactly. Well, depending on the fabric as well.
Fabric?
Yeah. So once it's preheated and ironed, you just grab your. So this is the part that I hate the most because you gotta be meticulous and align it properly, which I'm really bad at. And then push it in, let it do its work. That polymer on the back of the print is now fusing itself to the fabric. So it's really like a glue. And then once it releases, you gotta let it cool down a bit so that the glue sets,
Right.
pretty much. And then you hit it again, second time. So this is the problem here. We gotta let it dry, let it cool down a bit.
Yeah. So once you've got them pressed, once that comes off, you can launder it normally and use it like a regular t-shirt.
Exactly. Here's the end product.
This is our CO2 laser. So I'll show you some samples that we did over there. For right now, you can see she's doing multiple rolling pins at the same time.
So this, you said this is a CO2. What are the F1, F2 Ultras? What are those? What's the difference between?
F1 Ultra is a MOPA fiber and a diode.
Okay.
The F2 is also a fiber and a diode. F2 Ultra UV is a UV, our only UV as well.
So what's the difference between a CO2 versus the diode versus?
CO2 would be better for doing wood acrylics, would be better for cutting, and better for engraving certain items. Whereas the F2 Ultra UV would be better for actually engraving really deep and nice fine lines, simply because of the wavelength of the laser. Diode is perfect because it just actually has a deeper engrave, whereas the UV wouldn't necessarily have a deeper engrave, just it's not as powerful as the diode right now. So it'll have a deeper engrave where you can actually, if you went over it with your hand, you would feel the actual engrave. Whereas if you went over with the UV, you wouldn't necessarily feel engraved, but you would see it.
Yeah.
But it's more fine, right, with the UV. Same with the MOPA. MOPA is really, really great for metals. So if you want to do like different color metals, which I can show later, is that it has like different color metals. So imagine like a steel pan. After a while, it starts changing color on the outside, but with the MOPA laser, we're controlling the wavelength, so that's able to do a color. So we have like some paintings over there that look like paintings on metal, but they're actually done with the fiber laser.
Really?
Yeah. But this is actually really great for cutting. So like, for example, this was cut and then engraved with this guy.
Backwards, engraved, then cut.
There we go. Engraved, then cut.
So if somebody has a wood business, they want to add a customization to cutting boards or coasters, things like that, this would be a good option.
Yeah, like this guy.
An excellent option. I use this one is used in my shop a lot.
Really?
I'm gonna walk over is our Metal Fab. So it's actually a 2-in-1. So it's a CNC cutter and also a welder. But this is our welding station. So this is a lantern actually that he's building.
So like these?
Yeah.
So is he hand welding that stuff?
That's right.
So basically spot welding?
So these are, yeah, exactly. This was actually first cut from, it was just a plain sheet of stainless steel. It was then cut and cut out on that machine over there. And then he came and welded it with that same machine.
Gotcha.
Same with all of these. This is brass, obviously, stainless steel, different type. Like these were done also with that same machine. You can see how fine it can cut it, and then it also easy for it to be welded on. Actually, this is not cut. This is all one piece of metal.
Oh, wow. I thought it was layered.
It is layered, but
I'm
it's
just
different.
saying, I thought they had layered
Oh yeah,
wood.
no, me too.
Under metal.
But it's actually cut.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. It's pretty detailed, a lot of layers there.
This is like a treasure box with gears. So this gun can then be taken out and welded. So it's really easy for it to be clipped in.
Oh, so everything that was cut out is using this, and
Correct.
you pull this out and go weld with it.
Correct.
That's interesting.
So that's why you can see all these CNC cuts. These were probably name tags that we're playing around with that we're then welding over here, so it could be like a little placard for the person. But it's all done here.
What's this model?
Metal Fab.
Metal Fab?
Yeah. This is like our educational zone, so this is for teachers. Again, the P3 is great for educational use. So here, I think what he was doing is doing these little tags. But again, like there's a full manual on how to use these in the classroom, how to have kids learn about STEAM education, and how to encourage. Also, this is also very good for at-risk youth. So we have a lot of programs that at-risk youth or just being able to create things, which a lot of our programming this year has been 1% to the Makers Foundation. And so we've been donating some of these machines as well to maker spaces so that they're able to use this in their space without having, really, we don't want financial circumstances to limit somebody from being able to access some of our machines. So we just make sure that they're able to get them.
Awesome.
Other samples that were made. So this is what she was talking about, is that it could go on slate.
Slate, wood,
This is a mixture of wood
acrylic,
and
things like
acrylic.
that. Yeah.
This is some of the robotic stuff that's meant for the classroom.
Yeah.
And this is under our Expo Education. This is a perfect example of what the P3 can do. So it's actually made for one of our expos in Europe, and we brought it over to our CES booth. But it can be done with the P3. So it was cut out and then hand placed, obviously, as well as these. These are actually all P3 samples.
All from the xTool V3.
Yeah. They're just doing different media, so this is actually just real feathers and then painted. This one actually is cool. So this one was actually made for CES. So it's missing the motor, but it's a cart that we made that we painted on this side just to make it look nice, obviously. But it was all cut with the Metal Fab. And over here, you can see that you have a better feeling that this was actually cut here, and then these were places where it was welded with the Metal Fab. So throughout the entire cart. I think a lot of times creativity leads into art. And so we really kind of want to focus and have this kind of be more like an art studio, like a gallery almost.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the idea, is that this was made with the Metal Fab. It's supposed to be incredibly creative, incredibly kind of out of the box, not really have anything to like art for art's sake more than anything. And with a little caption of what it is here for every single piece. This was made using the P3, layers of wood with painting on top.
So all this is wood?
Yeah, different types of wood with different types of paint.
That's wild.
I don't know what's happening here, but this is supposed to spin. Again, all made with the P3, as was all of this. So this is like a collection of different sizes of acrylics. This one also, I think, probably one of my favorites is that it was made on gold paper. And so it's all very, very thinly cut and engraved using the P3. Same with this one. I really think these really showcase kind of what the P3 can do. This is a crown that was specifically made for CES. Same with this, it's a puzzle piece.
Oh, the puzzle's cool.
And then I was saying earlier about the MOPA laser. So this is actually just titanium, again, like with the pot color. The different colors were done with the MOPA laser.
What was the model on that one?
This is the F2 Ultra,
F2 Ultra.
made with this, and then the clock in the corner. Because we're a global brand, I like to say the story is that these are different time zones: Europe, Asia, North America, South America. It was made with the P3, so it kind of showcases that it's not really limited by size. As long as with the extensions, it can be done to do something this large. These are samples of our material libraries of what it can do with all of our machines. Again, this was cut out with the Metal Fab, also welded with the Metal Fab. as were all of these as well. So these are all different types of lights. The only thing that we actually ended up doing was just putting the light bulb inside. Everything else was made with one of our machines. So this was all cut out on the P3. Again, cut out mixture of wood, metal. This was done with 2 machines, Metal Fab and P3. Again, same here. These are then cut out with the P3 and Metal Fab, a Metal Fab lamp, P3, P3. These are all examples of kind of creative aspects of what our machines could do.
Awesome. Your imagination is the limit on what you can do with the xTool, right?
Yeah,
Depending on
I
what you
agree.
see. And I appreciate you letting us
Absolutely,
see
man.
everything you got. Thank you.
My pleasure.
If you've been thinking about adding a laser, the garment printer, or even the Metal Fab to your shop to help level up your production and start selling woodworking stuff, I have a group called Sawdust Startups. You can find us at school.com/Sawdust Startups. There's over 500 other woodworkers in there who are actively making money woodworking, and we're all working together to grow a business. It's a full course as well as a support system. You got to check us out, school.com/Sawdust Startups. Join free for the first 7 days. If you'd like to check out any of these products, there's links in the description, the pinned comment, and of course you can scan the QR code, go right to my website.